What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at the title that's probably one of my favorite games of the year so far. A very, very enjoyable little game called From Glory to Goo. We had the opportunity to cover this game about 8 months ago when it first came out in early access, and I think we covered a demo of it prior to that. But the developer of this game is an absolute maniac that's been going just absolutely wild, releasing patches and adding new content to the game, really following through on the early access promise, so I think it's time for us to dive in once more. If after watching this you wanted to get From Glory to Goo for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there. On top of that, you can also take a look down there to find links to various Nerd Castle services and other things that I do, just in case you wanted to hang out live or support the channel. But let's go ahead and dive straight on into it. What is From Glory to Goo? From Glory to Goo is a progression of the ideas that were pitched to players in a title like Age of Darkness or a game like They Are Billions. At its core, this is a game about you colonizing an alien goo planet that's trying to consume your biomass and bring it on into its hive mind while doing research in order to unlock new characters, new heroes, new units, all that kind of stuff for future runs. It comes packaged up in this very nice sort of Windows 95 aesthetic that the game has going on that's very retro and reminds me of my childhood. This is literally what games looked like when I was like 8 or 9 years old on the PC back then. And so your goal is just to hold out for as long as the game tells you while taking territory, building up land, and building up an army that's capable of holding off all of these bad guys that are going to be coming after you. Along the way, you're waiting for rescue from a ship that's actually moving towards the planet. You can take a look right there, and the planet's a little bit further off. But one of the cool details of this game is that the planet gets closer as the ship gets closer to rescue you. Each of these little cells can have equipment put on it that'll help your colony out and make you more efficient and make it so that you make more resources, or you get orbital bombardments or things of that nature. Which is a nice little twist to the game. And then from there, you've got to manage all of your various resources in order to make sure you make it to the end game. This playthrough is about 2 hours in, and we're coming up on probably the final 45 minutes of this run. So let's dive straight on into it. What exactly are you taking a look at here? Well, you're taking a look at my base. So at the moment, we've got everything to balance from water to electricity to the amount of population we have available in order to recruit and create units. Right now, I'm playing through this level as the roboticist, which is a character that focuses on android units that replace all of the human units and don't use up unit caps so that you can just focus on building sort of a weak horde army. But we've got a choke point up here that's been hammered pretty hard in the past, so we're going to try and reinforce that here today. We're going to keep trying to expand our industry, and we're going to try to get our population up to maybe like 1,500 or 2,000 before the end of the run. We've got about 55 days left until the run finishes off. We've got a number of places that we kind of need to reinforce and make happen. I've got buildings and I've got defenses and things going on along all fronts, but if you take a look at the map down here, I've pretty much conquered the entire map as it stands right now with my battle force that's hanging out over on this side. So, priorities for right now. What things do I need to work on? Well, our power grid's looking pretty good, but our water is looking pretty terrible, so it's time for us to expand the water grid. Water is a foundational resource in this game. You just gotta have it, otherwise nothing functions. You can't build up any life support, you can't build up any houses, you can't really get anything done without water, so let's get water taken care of. Every single building in this game needs to be attached to a conduit. These streets right here, they transfer electricity, and as this stuff starts to build, you will start to notice that it's transferring resources around. You see how the resources are moving around on the conveyor belt? You don't need to set up flow or anything else like that. That's purely a visual I guess, accent that the game has given you in order to show the progress of things being built, but I like it very much. We've also got some steam geysers around here. We can actually make use of those pretty easily by putting steam geyser pumps on top of them that will allow us to get a nice little influx of water. So I'll probably take care of that before too long. It looks like we've got some minor attackers coming down this way, and my rocket launchers are taking care of them, as rocket launchers have been known to do. This little area, I think it's got enough coverage right there. So what we'll try to do, this doesn't have coverage though. I need to have defense over here because they will send in flying units from time to time just to mess with you. Just to like mess with your economy and try to take from you. And so they can fly over mountains, they can fly over these debris fields over here that we can harvest for metal. And in fact, it's strange to me that I have not utilized this metal over here just yet. So let's get that done. Your resources that you've got to balance in this game are effort, metal, ore, and isotopes. And so different things that you build are going to require a different amount of that stuff. I'm going to send my army out just to mess with aliens for a little bit, just to boost up my score a tiny bit while we wait for the next wave. And we'll kind of see where the next wave is coming from and how bad it's going to get. You guys move on out there, start getting some mayhem done. And we've got 132 water to play with. Love to see it. I'd like to unlock the biome because the biome gives me access to higher tier civilians. I just built a robo factory and I want to build a bunch of these walkers over here because these guys are absurdly OP, like they're ridiculously badass. They've got a giant automatic plasma thrower that does splash damage to everything around them. And it's such mayhem on the enemy whenever you can get it deployed properly. Alright, so it may be time to head back home now. We're clearing out some bad guys over here, but let's have them head back into base. We'll just attack, move them on over there to make sure that they're killing stuff off, and we're being hit from pretty much every single side of the map, so that's going to take some consideration and a little bit of love and squeeze and care to get done. So let's reinforce the army up here. I'm going to put a conduit right there and a conduit right there so that I can expand the defenses on this side. Hopefully it holds versus the enemy's nasty influx of violence that's going to be coming our way. I think we've got a few more spots that we can get water pumps into, so I'll put one right there. I'll maybe think about getting one in right there. There we go. And then I need to dedicate the rest of my effort to getting things done out here. It's okay, though. Effort's going to go through the roof once I start printing out these habs over here. But I'm trying to get enough water stacked up that the habs will be able to be expanded in ridiculous format. I should have grabbed that ore over there while I was in the neighborhood, too. You will want to clear the map a little bit just to make more space for you. When you start out in a tiny little nook like up here, and I expanded from just this little circle all the way across the entire map, because that's how I roll when it comes to the Xenos, man. I don't like them. I don't like the look of them. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like the way they react. I don't like the way that they squat on my land. And so it's time for us to destroy some filthy alien Xenos. 4 days left until the invasion lands, but our infrastructure's looking pretty good right now. Things are flowing around. We're getting things taken care of. I love the lovely little animations that the game has, just enough to make it not look static. Most buildings in this game do animate when they're producing something for your overall war effort. We've got too much metal right now, so we're capped out. So let's focus on clearing out more areas of the ship. Our ship does not have any electricity right now, which is super bad. So let's go ahead and build a whole bunch of power generators on the ship because we need this to be positive, because I am planning on firing this cannon right here very liberally as we go into this fight. And as you can see from this meter, our ship has no electricity and it can't fire the cannons from orbit in order to bombard the enemy without a little bit of energy. So hopefully we get that done before things start to fall apart. I need to build some more housing though, so let's put a robo factory right there in the middle. Robo factories, they increase your effort output based on the amount of habs that are around them, so it's always efficient to make a 3x3 of habs without one in the middle so that you can put the robo factory in the middle. There's another building called life support that reduces the amount of electricity and water that these guys use, so there is kind of an optimal circuit layout for these guys right here. The map withstanding, sometimes the map gets in the way of that, but it sort of is what it is. Let's do, so what's it gonna cost me to get a whole bunch of these dialed on in? We're gonna need a little bit more electricity, so I may wait to drop all those habs in until this wave is done, because I have a generalized rule about my power grid. I like it to be above 200, preferably I'd like it to be at 300, because one of the twists in this game is that every single one of these turrets that you've got out here, it costs you electricity whenever it fires. And so if you're getting hit along multiple fronts and every single one of these guys is charging you like 20 electricity every single time that it discharges, it's going to drain your power grid very, very rapidly. And I would say a big snare for new players is that they don't plan their power grid effectively. to deal with hordes. And so when a horde arrives, they just kind of get overwhelmed because they run out of electricity, and then it's only their soldiers that are holding the wall and holding the line. It can turn into some real nasty mayhem that you probably don't want to deal with. There we go, 225 power. Now we're looking spicy. We've got waves coming in from pretty much every single direction. These guys are probably going to impact first because we're right along the edge of the map, so I'm going to move my standing army over to this side. I probably should have thickened up the walls before they got here. I can make a desperate last-ditch attempt to do that right here, but there's no guarantee that it's going to work or be effective. Still, that doesn't mean that I can't reinforce the wall over here to make sure that that's safe. And it also, we're 3 thick over on that side. We should be okay. Okay, let's see what the clash looks like down here. Cannons are bumping, enemies getting blasted, looking pretty good on that side. These guys, oh, we've got a flyer right there. He's coming in. Not great. I don't really have anything to intercept that. Never mind, the turrets are going to get him. All right, back down to this fight right here. I don't think that I'm going to need to use orbital bombardment to help out with this. I think we should be okay. Now, this game is quite difficult. If you're looking to get into this game, the easy difficulty is the best place to start because it's going to allow you to unlock a lot of metagame stuff to make your life easier or at least tailor your strategy towards what the enemy is doing. Rockets are holding these guys back okay back here, but I do think they're going to need a little bit more oomph if they want to make it. It looks like that wave is mostly done, so I'm going to move these guys back towards this wall before this wave arrives. These guys over here, let's hit them with the orbital bombardment. And you'll see giant bullets falling from the sky and blasting the hell out of these dudes. And so it looks like that was probably the extra little oomph we needed to release the pressure right there. They are still trickling in on that side, but it's nothing to be worried about. Now, we've got a little bit of effort stacked up, and so in the middle of the fight, I'm going to start stamping out biomes to make my life a little bit easier. We've got 220 water. Each of these takes what? Each of these takes 12 water. So at 220 water, we can almost have like 20 of them, I guess. And so we'll get those started on up, but we're out of resources. But I want those to be built before we get to the end of this wave. These guys are still chugging along on this side. Luckily, we've got a very advantageous choke right here. The map is randomized, so you never know quite what you're going to get. Sometimes you get an easy map. Sometimes you get a map that's really hard to defend, and you're kind of just destined to fail. Treat it like a learning opportunity, because that's exactly what it is. You guys come over here and kill him, please. Thank you. I don't have enough. So these gun turrets right here, they can't fire at anything that flies. Only these little laser turrets can do it. There's also another turret called a SAM site that'll get flyers out if you need to. But we appear to be holding pretty well on this side. Okay, we're maxed out on metal again. So, oh, we're under attack. I can't build anything on the ship. So your ship will come under attack from time to time. You need to have a big enough army of Marines on the ship to make sure that that doesn't backfire on you. Let's spend a little bit of metal to start repairing some of these corridors and working our way back towards some of these guns. Once that's underway, we're going to start attacking some of these alien hives inside of our recovery ship. Just getting them out of the way so that our life gets a little bit easier. I don't see the attack down there, so I don't know exactly what's attempting to attack me, but it says that there's an attack down there. What else do I need for these? Just 8 metal? Okay. Give me a few more right there. I'm trying to, not block my pathways of egress so that I can still move through my base without getting myself into trouble. And it looks like we managed to pull through more or less unscathed. We've got another flyer right there, though, that's really being a headache. So send these guys over to here before this turns into some kind of catastrophic cascading problem. Because when they kill a building, sometimes they convert the people living inside of it into a zombie, because like I said, the goo in this game is trying to take you over. It's not just trying to kill you, it's trying to incorporate you like the Thing. And so we'll put that over on that side, and then it'd probably be a good idea to make sure that doesn't happen again by putting a laser turret right there just to protect us in the off chance that they keep flowing. From here, our next plan, we've got 9 specialists. Each of these biomes gives me a specialist. That's what I'm trying to get, is specialist experts, so I can start getting more advanced units. And so we'll leave that chugging along over there. We do have an opportunity on this side to get a little bit more mining lined up as well. so that we're getting minerals a little bit faster. Let's put that in right there for a quick +6. We'll put that in right there for a quick +5, giving us a +12 in total, and that leaves us a little bit of space to put in another laser tower to defend this over on this side. And once these are built up, we should be in really, really good shape. So now with ourselves lined up, we could use a little bit more crew efficiency, so I'm going to build some crew bunks over here. These crew bunks will make it so that we have the ability to reload our guns faster and make them a more useful utility much more quickly than we can do it right now. There's not a lot of great ways out of my base, but I kind of want to go farm aliens for a little bit to get my score up. I don't think I can build too much closer to the edge of the map, though, so we might just kind of be hanging out on this wave and doing our own thing. We've got a good solid 35-day chunk until the enemy arrives to occupy our time, and so we should be ready by the time that they get there. This might be one of the highest metal amounts I've ever had on a playthrough. Don't worry about that. It's going to plink every now and again. I built that thing on top of a spawner, and so every now and again it takes like 1 damage and then instantly kills the thing coming out of the spawner, and it's not really that big of a deal. I need to get some more biomes built. Let's get some more biomes banged out. I think back there's a perfectly fine place to do it, although we don't have a laser tower covering us on this side, so the enemy could fly across these mountains and kind of like mess with us, and so we're going to have to work on our circumference of defense. And now that we have that built, I want to start printing out walkers about as fast as I possibly can. As I mentioned, these guys are giant mech suits that have an automatic plasma thrower that just goes thwunk, 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 and it AoEs everything that it hits. These guys are disgusting. One of the captains, you do have a hero in this game. He's around here somewhere. My hero is right here. I'll pull him out of the stack. Your hero does level up. Your hero does get abilities. Your hero does get stronger. So you can see their little tree over here. Over the course of the game, as they kill bad guys, they'll level up. They'll get passives. They'll get new weapons. The passives will dictate how you play the game and what things you benefit from. They also get active abilities over on this side. So mine's just got a bunch of vicious nanobots and also a micro rocket cannon that's basically a miniaturized version of the bombardment we get from space. We've got an orbiting drone. We've got an orbiting laser drone. 2 of those, in fact. And so this guy is kind of a whirlwind of death. And at the moment, I've got them equipped with the Thunderclap tactical machine gun, which is pretty sick. I like it a lot, but at the moment, we're more or less level capped. Chances of us getting any more higher level are pretty slim. With those 2 rocket launchers in right there, I'm not super comfortable with our defense on this side. Oh, we're out of water. Why are we out of water? What's going on with our water production? Did something get destroyed? Or did I overbuild? I must have overbuilded. I don't think I have any more steam geysers on my land, so I think we're going to have to get creative about this water allocation. Let's just start grabbing every little strip of land that we haven't claimed so far in order to convert it into water production, because this will actually cause kind of a problem once we run out of water. And so that should even us out a little bit. We've got a little bit more land over here that we can water up. Conduits in this game, they do not affect water pumping, so don't worry about that too much. They still work perfectly fine, even though they're underneath a conduit. But I think if you build another building on top of it, it does nerf the water amount that comes out of it. The other rising problem that we'll be forced to contend with is just that we're out of water space. So what I'd like to do now is let's research life support and get that going. Once we have life support, nice, and I guess we could do a hydroformer. That would allow us to pull water out of the deep core. But as your population goes up higher, you do have a tech tree. That tech tree, you're not going to be able to grab everything during a playthrough unless you're just like a way better player than I am, which I guess is entirely possible. Let's attack that little area right there, and then I need more crew. So I'll get a little bit more crew, and then we'll try to grab this gun over here so that we can fire the cannons a lot more than we're currently firing the cannons. I would like to convert something into some more Marines as well. But now that that's done, let's build the cannon right there. So we've got another gun inside of our ship. We'll start repairing some of the bulkheads in our very, very destroyed and beat up on ship. Send my Marines to wipe out the bad guys that are over there before the next wave arrives. You can keep track of the progress up here with the white and the red numbers in case you were curious about that and how I know that I'm winning or I'm losing. And once life support is done, I can plop a life support next to a lot of these residential hubs, and it should help out a little bit in order to make us a tad more effective. I would like some more rocket launchers, but unfortunately our power grid is sort of hitting its last legs right now. So let's go all in on a bunch of power grid production because we have the resources to do it. And I don't see why not. We've got lots of little nooks and crannies and things over here too that we can get them into. So we'll just get a ton of power for the final wave because experience is telling me that we gonna need it. And so now we officially have life support finished. It's very expensive to build life support. However, life support does free up a lot of resources if you can get it positioned in such a way that it's supplying to all of these residential habs around it. Tends to be quite good if you do that. And so that should allow us to reclaim some serious water. I'm still printing out walkers over here because I think they are going to be integral to our strategy. So we'll add like 4 walkers to this stack. And then actually I need to like around the clock be just producing grist for the mill little androids to help us out for the final wave too. Okay, so the final wave is upon us. Little things that I got around to. I've never played around with the recycler before, so I got that. It allows you to exchange, it's basically a market. You can trade your resources for stuff that you need, which is actually kind of major because I'm always capped out on effort, and I almost never have enough ore or isotopes. So I'm going to focus on that building a little more heavily as I go through the game and play through further levels. Speaking of levels, there's 8 or 9 of them right now in the survival mode. All of them get increasingly complex and difficult, in case you were wondering how that goes. Yeah, please kill that flyer. I swear to God, I saw that pop up and I thought I built a turret over here, but I couldn't remember. But there's 8 or 9 levels right now. There's no campaign. Everything is fully procedural, and the levels get nastier and nastier the further on in you are. Right now, I think I'm playing the 4th level at the moment, and when you complete levels, you get fleet support, which allows you to unlock new ships. So you'll get new ship layouts with different tricks and things that you can do. Oof, 80 aliens right before we get attacked, huh? I think our Marines should be able to fight them off. Marines are considerably stronger than aliens, so it should be all right. We shouldn't have too many problems, but we can't use our cannons while there's an invasion happening, and so that could have been timed a little bit better. I'd like to bolster up the defense just a little bit along certain fronts that I think may have trouble. And so we'll add another rocket launcher over there. I think I have like 4 over here. It should be okay, but let's get a 5th. Why not? Throw a 5th rocket launcher down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. All right, and so yeah, that's right, a Chappelle Show reference. Haven't heard one of those in a hot minute. I'm a millennial. My entire personality is based off that TV show, all right? We've got a few more power grids going in over here, which should make sure that our guns should be able to fire along all fronts. As a general threshold for new players, you kind of want your electricity to be above 300 as you get to the later waves. You sort of want your effort to be above 500. You kind of want your metals to be above 30. And then just get your ores to wherever you can get them. I found that there's a wide variance in the amount of ore that you can actually get mission to mission just based on the randomness of the seed. You never quite know how the seed is going to go, and so sometimes I have to make do with like 10 ore per tick, which is when you're really going to want to get the recycler and focus on other parts of your industry. Sometimes I have like 25. It kind of depends, but just get it up as high as you possibly can. This game does expect you to take over the entire map every single time you play. This is a highly optimized game that's expecting you above the easiest difficulty to have highly optimized assault pass. Oh, the fight is starting. All right, well, these guys are going to impact with the wall first because we're right on the map border right here. So this is going to be the first fight that we have to deal with. So let's get the army down here to deal with that. The rocket barrages are going. We do have a Titan right there, which is kind of a problem. Let's salt them up a little bit with a little bit of rain from the sky. There it is. And hopefully we can hold back this advance. It looks like we actually did a pretty good job right there. The other trouble spot is going to be up here. Oh, I don't have my army in the right spot. Hold on. These guys need to be down by the wall over here before this impact attacks. I forgot that I was building all them up real quick. Okay, so it looks like that wave is mostly done, I think. And it's going to be a while till these guys get here. Epic combat music go. These guys are all in position already, so they should be ready to rock. These guys got there quicker than I expected, but there are 4 rocket launchers over here, so we should be all right. You guys just kind of center up because this is mostly mortar teams that are going to be launching bloopers at the enemy. You guys come stack up down here, center wall. They're going to need some fire support on this side, so let's give it to them. Fire support went well. I'm happy with it. Cleared them off the wall. We only have to survive until that meter goes dark right there. They won the fight on this wall, so now we need to move them on over to this wall and get them ready to tangle with this big wave that's coming in. But this one is going to be the main one that we got to watch out for. Plasma throwers working overtime down here. You love to see it. Give them another volley. Let them feel it. Blast them back to the Stone Age. That's what I'm talking about. We're recharging very quickly right now on our cannons, mostly because we have very good crew efficiency on our ship right now. It could be better, but the fight is being joined over here. Let's give them a quick strafe. Quick strafe was effective. My captain's in here. Let's fire rockets over there. Let's fire nanobots over there. We appear to be holding okay. How's this bottom wall doing? Is this bottom wall doing anything? Bottom wall seems to have gotten a much easier wave than some of the other walls, so we should be all right. I think we're in really, really good shape, and that's what the final wave on normal difficulty looks like if you're properly prepared. From glory to goo, what a rad little game, dude. Like, there's so few games that actually take a blueprint that's been given by a previous title and actually turn it into something more. And this, to me, is basically the much better version of They Are Billions. We've won the game. You're not going to see anything down here because I set up this save specifically. I beat the game right here, but I made a save knowing that I was going to make a video on the game. And so normally what's going to happen here is that you get fleet support and you get alien biomass, but the game is aware of the fact that I loaded a save to set up this video, and so we're not going to get anything, but that's going to take you back out to the menu after you win, and some new arrivals to this game with all the patches that have gone on. We have the laboratory, and one thing I really like about this game is that the laboratory is going to have 4 different versions of every single unit from what I can tell from the spacing right here, and you can spend the research you got from the planet to change these guys around and change what they do on the battlefield. So you can take your normal trooper with a laser gun and you can turn him into an ice trooper that freezes enemies instead. Or you can do what I've done down here where I've taken the cyborg and I turned him into an electro cyborg, which is basically just the Tesla troop from Red Alert, except that the lightning bounces in between enemies, which makes them really effective in large masses to kill the enemy. You can take this tortoise right here, which is a tank, and you can turn it into an artillery instead of like a... So right now, it's kind of like a mounted rocket launcher, just like our rocket launcher turret. It's got huge range and it fires splashy rockets. You can swap it out for an artillery cannon that fires even further but has a slower firing rate, but also slows the enemy every time that it impacts. So that's fun right there. I hope to see a lot more of that. That's really cool. You can also unlock stratagems. Whatever ship you choose at the beginning of the game can mount stratagems. Stratagems will make it so that your units have like armor penetrating bullets, or they'll make it so you start out with more resources, or they'll make it so that your power lines are invisible and can't be targeted by the enemy. You can get coordinated fire, which upgrades your bunker, which is a defensive turret that you put units inside of. It'll let it hold 2 more units. You can get silencers that make you less likely to draw other aggro from other things around. Right now, I've got improved alloys that make all my units tougher, and then I've got a radar that lets me know when the wave is coming 2 days in advance from which direction. When you pick in survival, you also get to choose between captains. I've unlocked 5 out of the current 8 at the moment, and these captains, they markedly change the way that you play the game. So like the Marine captain is the default standard vanilla playthrough. The roboticist makes it so that you build buildings way faster, and all of your human units are replaced with robot units that are cheaper, don't cost unit cap, but don't quite hit as hard, but you can have a very real swarm tactic going on. You've got the physicist over here. Physicists make it so that your units get buffed whenever they get a heal from a medical unit. They just are stronger, so it's basically super soldier serum. They also replace your walkers, which were the units that I wanted on the last run, with hover tanks. The hover tanks are ridiculously busted. They're really, really strong, and they're really good, and so he's pretty fun. You also get scout bikes instead of explosive drones so that you can scout the map a little bit faster. You can go with the mutant, which is a very interesting play style. The mutant makes it so that for every single enemy that you kill, they drain health. You can't ally with tribes on the map. That's right, every single map has procedural randomized modifiers on it that change the way that you're going to go up against the enemy. So every single AI in this game has every goo AI is dictated by a couple of profiles, and it announces the profile that you've got after like 10 or 15 days on the map, and lets you know, the enemy is much more numerous this time around, but they have half HP. The enemy is now armored, but there are much less of them, and there are way more mortars, that kind of stuff. But this guy right here, he corrupts enemy goo and converts it into human units, and he's basically a necromancer, so he periodically poops out goo that becomes more units that he can have. A lot of his units are replaced with gooey cyborgs and kind of gooey versions of the other units that you already have. We have the Pyromaniac over here. The Pyromaniac just flatly makes it so enemies take way more damage from fire, and she replaces your Tortoise tanks with Phoenix tanks and starts out with heavy flamers so that you can kind of have a fire-based playthrough. She also has a number of perks that give you bonuses based on how many enemies are on fire. They increase her damage. They increase her units' damage based on how many are on fire. They'll make it so enemies on fire can periodically explode, doing a grenade-like AoE to everything around them. And so there's some really, really cool stuff here that the developer is pushing with these ideas. And then the ships, I've only unlocked like 2 of them so far in this current playthrough of me binging out the game for the last like 20 hours. But the ships, they change layouts. They have different levels of being infested. Bigger ships tend to be harder to fix up, but they have way more room for modules, which can really overclock your economy and give you tons of guns. This guy right here is just like a satellite, so really little, doesn't really get attacked by the aliens, but also isn't really going to help you that much. And so you can take your pick, and you can't get a preview of the ones that you haven't unlocked yet, but I wish that I could. Really fantastic game. Definitely one of my Game of the Year contenders. I like it a lot. It takes the formula from They Are Billions and Age of Darkness and meaningfully advances it forwards with a lot of fun twists that I think diversify the experience in a very satisfying way. On top of that, the game comes in at a very low price point. You can get this game right now for $10 on sale, $12 normally, and I've dumped 40 hours into it at this point, and I still haven't unlocked half of the ships, a big chunk of the units. I haven't gotten a lot of the things done. I haven't beaten a lot of the maps. I haven't gone into hard mode yet. And so there's a lot of content here for an early access. I can't recommend it highly enough. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, it was From Glory to Goo. Tomorrow it'll be something else. I look forward to seeing what this game is going to look like in 1.0, but for right now, it's bringing more to the table than most 1.0 games, and so I dig it. I think it's really, really great. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for hanging out, and that's all I got for you, folks. Bye.